Hi besties, welcome back to Joy's Fashion World. In today's tutorial, I will show you how to cut and sew this elegant two-piece style featuring a relaxed oversized top and stylish wide leg palazzo pants. It's comfortable, fashionable and suitable for different body type. Before we start, if you are yet to subscribe to this family, please do so. Like this video, drop me lovely comments and share with those that love fashion. So you can see what it's looking like after I was done, and this particular one is for a plus size client. So gather your fabric, your sewing tools and let's get started. Let's begin with the cutting of the wide leg pant. The first thing you need to do is to place your fabric on fold, right side facing each other. And to know the amount to place on fold, you divide your largest circumference, which mine is the hip, by 4 plus additional 6 inches. That 6 inches is because we are sewing for a plus size client. So this is me pinning my fabric down so that it won't move when I'm inputting my measurement. After pinning, the first thing you want to do is to mark 2 inches all the way down to the hem of your wide leg pants. That 2 inches, like I said earlier, is because we are sewing for a plus size client and I want it to be free. You can also go ahead and add 3 inches, but mine I use 2 inches. After marking, you connect the points together with a straight line as seen. Next is to input your cross line. So place your tape from your starting line, and before inputting your cross line, I minus 1.5 inches. That will serve as our band, as our waistband. So minus 1.5 inches before placing your tape. After minusing 1.5 inches, you input your cross line. And for the cross line, in order to know your cross line, you divide your hip circumference by 4 plus additional 3 inches. Chalk it down and connect the point with a straight line. After connecting your cross line with a straight line, the next thing you want to input, the next measurement you want to input is the length of the pants you are working with. So for mine, the length of my client is 42 inches plus 2 inches for hemming allowance. We have 44 inches in total. So I'm going to chalk it down at 44 inches, after which I will connect it with a straight line as seen. Alright, so as you can see, we now have our starting line, the cross line and the pant length, and by the side we have 2 inches for ease. So this is a clearer view of when I subtracted 1.5 inches for our waistband before marking my cross line. The next thing you want to consider is on the cross line, you input quarter of your hip circumference. So quarter of my hip circumference is 12 inches and I chalk it down. I'll mark that same 12 inches on my starting line. All measurement begins from that 2 inches we draw. You can see where I place my tape before taking my measurement, after which I will connect the point with a straight line. Next is to extend your cross line with 2 inches. So we are cutting the front piece first. This is the front piece. Extend your cross line with 2 inches and on that edge come out with ½ inch and you connect it using a slight curve. So the next thing you want to do is to measure what you have on your cross line in total. So after measuring mine, I got 14 inches and I'll place it on my pants length. That is the full length. I'll place it and mark the 14 inches all through. Remember, excluding the 2 inches we marked initially by the side. After which we are done, the next thing you want to do is to cut it out. Alright, so this is it. After we are done cutting, this is what our front piece is looking like. So I'll go ahead and pin it as on spot because we'll be using this front piece to cut out the back piece. Okay guys, let's continue with the back piece. So bring in your fabric, fold it into 2, align it properly, but this time the measurement you put on fold, the amount of fabric you place on fold is your largest circumference by 4 plus additional 9 inches. That's because we are cutting the back piece. That is 3 inches difference with that of the front piece. So bring in your front piece and you place it on your folded fabric, leaving about 3 inches above before placing it and 3 inches by the side as seen. So you can see what we have. Align both fabric properly and input your measurements. So on the center front around the crotch area, I went up with 2 inches and I'm going to connect it with a slant line back into our front piece. That's the starting line of the front piece as seen. You can see what we have after connecting it. The next thing you want to do is to extend your crotch line. That's for for the back piece, so I extended it with 3 inches for the back piece, after which I connect with a straight line as seam, and on that point extend it with 2 inches all through, after which connect the points together in order to achieve our crotch curve for the back piece. After connecting our crotch curve for the back piece, you can see what we have. You can see what it's looking like already. The next thing you want to do is to also extend the side of this pant with 2 inches, starting from the crotch line down to the hem of the pant. Extend it with 2 inches all through, after which you connect the points together into a straight line as seen. And with this, we are done with the drafting of our wide leg palazzo pants for a plus size client. So the next thing you want to do is to cut it out. While for the stitching of these pants, if you want to know how to sew these pants, I already have a tutorial on how to cut and sew wide leg palazzo pants on this channel. Please, I'll be dropping the link in the comment section. If you really want to know how to sew it, do well, go to the comment section, click on the link and watch. So for the side of the trouser, you slit it open just the way you see me doing, and we are done. Cut out the band of your trouser and you take it to your sewing machine and stitch. I have a detailed tutorial on how to sew it on my channel. Go and watch. So now let's cut out our top. Alright, so now let's cut out the top. So for the top, I've already gone ahead to place my fabric on fold in 2, right side facing each other. I'll also place it again in 2. That is, we have 4 folds in total. So for the length of this top, I'm making use of 30 inches. That is the length of my fabric in total. Alright, so after you must have folded your fabric the right way, the next thing you want to do is to input your body measurement. So from our starting line, I'll be inputting half of my shoulder measurement, which is 9.5 inch. That is half of the shoulder measurement. You chalk it down. From the half of your shoulder measurement, you also input your sleeve length, where you want your sleeve to stop. So for my client, I'm making use of 15 inches and I also chalk it down. So from that point, we are going down from your starting line. Place your tape that way and you mark 11 inches downward for your sleeve opening. You also chalk it down as seen. So the next thing you want to do is on that sleeve opening you mark, place your tape that way and you input quarter of your bust circumference plus additional 3 inches. So mark that same measurement all the way to the hem of your top, after which you connect those points together with a straight line. And on the point where the 2 lines meet, mark 1 inch outward and you connect it with a curve as seen. So the next thing you want to do is to input your neck measurement. For our back piece, for the depth of the neck, I went down with 1 inches, while for the width, I mark it at 3.5 inches, after which I connect it with a curve. While for the front piece, for the depth of the neckline, I make use of 7 inches, and for the width I maintain the 3.5 inches, after which I'll use my ruler to connect the 2 points together, making a V shape for the front neckline. Alright, so you can see this is what it's looking like after we are done inputting our neckline. So if you check the style inspiration on the front piece, there is this band that is going through the neckline down to the hem of the top. In order to achieve that, place your tape on the center front and you mark 1.5 inch, starting from the 7 inches neckline you mark down to the hem of your top, after which you connect the points together just the way you see me doing. And with this, we are done drafting our front piece. The next thing you want to do is to cut it out. So start by cutting the back neckline, then slit through the shoulder, and you continue with the cutting process just the way you see me doing. So this is what it's looking like after we are done cutting the back neckline, the shoulder, and through the body of the dress. The next thing you want to do is to cut out the front neckline. So cut only on the front piece, cut through the neckline, then down to the 1.5 inches to the hem of the dress. So this is what it's looking like after we are done cutting. So for the front piece, we now have 2 pieces, while for the back piece we only have 1. So this is what yours should be looking like after you are done cutting. The next thing you want to do is to stitch our piece together. Alright guys, so this is it. Now let's stitch it together. So open up your piece, open it up. This is the back piece. Open it right side facing you, and you also bring in 1 piece of your front piece and you place it on the back piece, right side facing each other. Align it properly and you take it to your sewing machine. So before that, I'll use my pin to hold it in place before taking it to my sewing machine. So align it properly, place one piece facing each other, place the other one facing each other, right side facing each other, and you take it to your sewing machine and stitch with 1/2 inch. I'll do that and show you what it's looking like. This is what it's looking like after joining both shoulders together using 1/2 inch. So the next thing you want to do is also join the side of your top. So I'll be using my pin to hold it in place first before taking it to my sewing machine. Align your fabric properly and pin it down. Align both sides. So I'll be sewing both sides and then show you what it looks like. After pinning it down, I'll take it to my sewing machine and use 1/2 inch to stitch on both sides. I will do that and be right back. Okay, so this is what it's looking like after I was done stitching it down. This is the shoulder and this is the side of our dress, and I did this on both sides of the dress using 1/2 inch to stitch it down. You can see what the dress is looking like. It's looking like a jacket for now. So the next thing you want to do is to hem your sleeve using 1 inch. So I'll mark 1 inch. I'll take it to my sewing machine and I will stitch it down, folding it twice using 1/2 inch. Fold it twice and I'll take it to my sewing machine and top stitch on it. Okay, so you can see what our sleeve is looking like after I was done stitching it down. You can see what we have and how neat it's looking like, and I did this on both sides of the sleeve. So now let's turn our top to the right side, and this is the right view of the top. You can see what we have. So the next thing you want to do is to work on the band on the front of our top, that is on the center front. So in order to do that, you are going to measure round from one hem of the top through the neckline down to the other hem of your top. So this is me measuring mine. So after measuring, I got about 70 inches after measuring. So this is it, I got about 70 inches. So the next you want to do is to cut out a band for it. So the wideness of the band, I have 4 inches, while for the length of the band, I cut about 80 inches because I don't want shortage when joining it. So I have 2 pieces of the band. I'll take it to my sewing machine and join the 2 pieces with 1/2 inch. After joining, this is what I have. So the next thing you want to do is to place your band, align it properly. So from the center of your band, mark how wide you want your neckline to be. So for mine, I went down with 14 inches. That is for the opening of my neckline. So from that 14 inches, I'm going to mark the midpoint of the band, which is 2 inches. If you have iron, you can go ahead to press it down to indicate the midpoint. So that midpoint, I'll take it to my sewing machine and stitch it down using a straight line starting from the 14 inches. So I'll do that and show you what it's looking like. So this is it after I was done. You can see what we have after stitching it down. So the next thing we want to do is to open it up this way. So take a closer look of what I'm doing and you also do same. So this is what our band is looking like after opening it up. Take it to your pressing table and give it a good press. You can see the opening, that is our neck opening. The next thing you want to do is to attach this band to your top. So in order to attach the band to your top, bring in your top and you find the midpoint of your neckline. So place your top, the neckline on foot that way, and you notch the midpoint. After notching the midpoint, bring in your band. You place the midpoint of the band to the midpoint of your top. Place it, ensure that you are placing midpoints together, after which use your pin to pin it down. So I'm going to use my pin to pin it down before taking it to my sewing machine. I'll pin the band to my top from the neckline down to one hem of the top, and from the other side of the neckline down to the other hem of the top. I'll pin it down, take it to my sewing machine and stitch it. While for the rough edges inside, I'll take it to my overlocking machine and I'm going to overlock it. So this is me pinning it down, pinning my band to the dress down. So after pinning one side of the band, you can see this is what it's looking like. I'll take it to my sewing machine and stitch it down now. So you can see this is the excess of the band. I'm going to trim it off and I'm going to hem my dress with 1 inch, and that is all for this tutorial. And with this, we have come to the end. So thank you for watching this tutorial to the end, and this is the final result on my mannequin. You can see how beautiful this turns out. So please kindly like this video, drop me lovely comments, share with your friends and those that love fashion, and most importantly, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and turn on your notification bell so that you'll be the first to get notified whenever I drop a new video. See you in the next one. Bye.